Fig Jam Cooking School is coming up. Join the waitlist at lunchladielou.com.au/figjam.
Let's start with some pros of recipes. You're set with what you need. You're done. You just need to open it up, follow the list, follow it step by step, and it's going to turn out. The downside of that is you forget an ingredient and you don't know what to do. You can't freestyle with anything that's in your pantry or your fridge. You have to run to the shops, which makes it a double trip, using up more of the time that you say that you don't have to get that ingredient to come back home and cook it. You might have the low oven, the hot oven, the hot pans, the cold pans, whatever it is. You might also have seasonal issues. So you're cooking an eggplant dip, but it's the middle of winter and eggplants aren't growing. But you don't know that, so you go and try and find one, and eggplants are $20 a kilo. And then you're making a $20 dip when it should be a $3 dip. And you should be getting for that $3 double or triple what you get from buying an eggplant dip from the supermarket. Number 2, on the pros of recipes, you don't need to think as much. You're just following, yes ma'am. Step 2, yes ma'am. You can do that. You don't need to think. Lots of people get home and they don't want to think while they're cooking. The con side to that is you don't want to think because you don't know how to think, because you've been doing this. Yes, ma'am. This is me saying yes to the recipe. This is me with a spatula in my hand, in case you didn't know. So you likely get home and you don't want to think because it's just so overwhelming because you have gaps in your cooking. A big bonus of recipes, you can learn about new processes, new cooking methods, new ingredients, new ways of cooking that you never ever thought of or applied before. And this is how I learned to cook. I'm not a chef, not trained in anything. I've been to 2 cooking classes in my life, a passata class and a curry making class. That's it. The rest I have learnt myself. And it used to take me 3 hours to make corn fritters. So it's a pretty big achievement. But recipes, on the con side of that, you're not learning at all. Every recipe that you cook is an opportunity to learn. Every recipe you cook is an opportunity to stuff up and learn. Every recipe that you cook is an opportunity to tweak it to your flavor and ask one important question. You taste it and you think, what does this need? It's usually more salt, more pepper, more dried herbs, more lemon, big squeeze of lemon, lug of olive oil. Usually fixes a lot of things, but we're not taught that. You are taught that if you come into my world, but we're not taught that out there. It just says, taste to your season to your liking and serve it up. But what does that mean? So you can also, a con is lose your confidence every step of the way. Yes, ma'am. Every time you do that, it's taking you out. Like my porridge example. I completely forgot what to do. And yeah, it could be motherhood. It could be the fact that it was 6:30 a.m. and I hadn't had much sleep and all of that stuff. But you know what? All of that stuff is life. And all of that stuff doesn't go anywhere. And all of that stuff, even if it did go away and you did have time, you wouldn't ever apply it to cooking. Because there are so many other fun, more exciting things that you'd currently love to do besides thinking in the kitchen. When thinking in the kitchen, learning, applying method to your madness will get you so much further and make it so much more enjoyable, so much faster, so much easier, so much more creative, and so much more delicious than this, yes ma'am, will ever do for you. You could buy, this is a pro, the most amazing recipe book. Got some there. And you set, and you cook that thing back to front, and you love it, and you make it yours, and you tweak them away, and they're great. Or you may buy the recipe book, open it, it all looks overwhelming because it all uses exotic ingredients because it's usually made for industry kudos than it is for actually helping someone, usually. It has all these weird ingredients that you can't get in the supermarket, or they're the most expensive ones, which means the recipes are catered towards weird ingredients. And because you're so good at following recipes and being told what to do, you can't even freestyle for the ingredients that you have, that you've already paid for, that you've already slogged your guts out at work for, and then schlepped them around at a supermarket, then forked out the cash for them, and then schlepped them home into your house, then schlepped them away into the pantry. And now they're just sitting there because you don't know what to do with them. Massive con. So, for a sec, do I still love my Thermomix? Do I love my guided recipe function? Absolutely. If usually at Christmas I want to make meringue for a pav, I'm using that. If I want to make something odd, whip the cream, do whatever, I'm using that. I'm using a recipe to do that. But for everyday cooking, how to roast a chicken, what to do with chicken thighs, what to do with chicken wings, how to slow cook meat, how to make an awesome dip, how to make a soup, how to use up the bits and pieces that are in my pantry, in my cupboard, in my fridge to make a curry or a pie or a frittata or just a mishmash meal, or how to package it up to freeze it properly so it lasts, how to preserve my food, how to do all of this stuff that is everyday basics that once upon a time was highly coveted information that your ancestors knew how to do, and it used to get passed down generation to generation to generation because it is just what it is. It's life. Cooking and eating is the innate survival skill of a human, along with being warm, and the other one, shelter, love, something along those lines, money in this day and age, everything else that we're putting before eating and making nourishing food, it's all up for debate. And I don't believe that you need to get rid of everything to be able to cook, but you do need to prioritize some time to make this happen. And then once you're in a confident spot with cooking, it's so much easier. And then the other stuff just kind of slots into place as well. But when you're in a desperate need for recipes and a desperate this and a desperate that, like I helped someone on Facebook just the other day and I told her the truth of what's going on, I don't know that they liked it very much. Lots of other people did, but that's beside the point. But this person that was so desperate didn't even want to face their issues. So let's talk about not following a recipe and what this can bring to you. We've kind of covered it all, but let's just summarize it. You are so free to cook whatever you want, when you want, how you want, in whatever way. You don't like Greek yogurt, leave it out. You don't like goat's cheese, leave it out. And from this, you become so good with flavor, how it tastes for you. You also become really nifty in when you do stuff it up, you know how to cover it up so no one else knows. You learn what the other people that you're cooking for love if you are cooking for other people. For my husband, it's bacon. Put bacon on anything, he's happy. For my son, it's mayonnaise, it's an egg, it's potato. And so it doesn't mean that our whole meal is that, although no one would complain, not even myself, but it's knowing those little hacks that make it work, and it makes it so much easier. I don't believe in bowing down to anyone else's requests. If they tell me the meal's crap, well, whatever. This is it. And so I don't let that affect me, but I can have that confidence that their feedback doesn't always affect me. I can take it on board, but it doesn't make it the be all and end all. It doesn't make me a crap cook because I know what to do with it. So the con of cooking without a recipe, you may overthink the whole process. Is it this? Does it work like this? I don't know what to do. Blah. It could become very stressful to you. So cooking without a recipe, it needs space, it needs time, and it needs someone, a critical thinker, to be asking you questions along the way that will help you and support you to learn about what you're doing. You don't just really do it blindly, although you can. The next pro of cooking without a recipe, you save so much money. You go into the fridge, you've got a half-eaten carrot, 2 corn cobs, some leek, and some noodles in the cupboard and some bone broth. You have chicken and corn soup. Done. You don't even need to think about it. You don't even need to go and find a recipe. Oh my God, I need 2 cups of corn and I have 1 cup. No, you just make it. And from that, you know that you can make it taste amazing because you know what to do. It just becomes it. You're molding your fridge and your pantry into what's there, into a meal, rather than taking the recipe and then molding everything else around it, which means you've got to go to the shops, you've got to get this ingredient. You forgot it. Oh my God, you've got to go back to the shops. Ugh. Next, pro of cooking without a recipe. You have so much extra time. Think about it. If you currently Google recipes, how much time do you spend Googling recipes every week and checking them, reading them over, trying to find the one that you bookmarked 3 months ago that was really cool that you can't find again? How much time do you spend complaining to your friends, trying their recipes, searching for their recipes again because you lost them, finding weird ingredients that need to go in this recipe because you don't know how to freestyle it? I could go on and on and on. So you're saving all of that time. Every week. What's good at the shops? Chicken thighs are on special. Noodles are on special. Flour's on special. Eggplant's on special. Whatever it is. You can buy that way and then make a meal later. How cool would that be? Instead of going, oh my gosh, I'm making a harissa, whatever. And I need 1 red capsicum. And red capsicums are $15 a kilo, because they pretty much always are. Between $10 and $15 a kilo all year, except for a few months of the year, maybe even a few weeks. It's a very short window. And so you got to schlep out all of this money for some capsicum and then bring it home and then cook it, and you don't know what you're doing, and it's just this whole stressful thing. When you ditch the recipe, it's just like, well, I don't need that red capsicum. I'll get it in mid-Jan instead, when they're $2 a kilo. I'm gonna buy carrots and I'm gonna spice them up so nice with that harissa and cumin. And then I'm gonna make a yogurt sauce with lots of garlic and charred zucchinis and toasted almonds and sultanas or currants and some toasted coconut and heaps of fresh parsley all diced up. And maybe I'll put some pomegranates on top as well, because it sounds like we're in winter. Maybe minus that zucchini. Do you get where I'm going? So I think this is the end.
Fig Jam Cooking School is coming up. Join the waitlist at lunchladielou.com.au/figjam.